Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where I talk about books and other things and stuff like that. I have read some pretty fantastic books lately. I've been very happy with the reading that I've been able to get around to in the last month or so. So today I just wanted to share a few of those books before they go back to the library tomorrow. And just in case you're wondering, that is a sheet over my window. We live in a house with no central heat and air, and our windows are old single pane windows, and it gets pretty chilly at night. So that's why the sheet's there. Ignore that now that I've explained what it is. But anyways, so today I'm going to share 3 books that I've read lately, and that, let's see, yeah, I pretty much enjoyed all 3 of them. The first one is I Am Legend by Richard Mattheson. This was a movie. I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with it, even if they never watched it. But I watched the movie, had no idea it was a story or a book beforehand. So when I saw this, I was pretty interested in picking it up. Now, I will say there are some big differences between the film and the book. I really like the movie, and then I kind of like that that there are differences because it makes it more separate in my mind. But I like the movie, and even after reading this, I can still say that I enjoyed the movie. But I also like this for being practically a completely different story. Yeah, I mean there wasn't a whole lot of similarities that I could find, other than there is a man who seems to be the only man left of his kind in a post-apocalyptic United States. And yeah, that's pretty much where the similarities end in my mind. In the book, if you're familiar with the movie at all, the book is different because the vampires in the book, they actually are sentient and they seem to be able to talk and converse, and that was a major difference. But yeah, a solid read overall. Now that I've had time to reflect on it, it was pretty good. It wasn't anything that blew my mind away, or I don't know. Maybe I'm being unfair, because now I'm thinking back to whenever I was reading it, and my feelings for it were pretty strong then. I was excited to pick up the book over and over again, and keep picking it up and seeing what was going to happen next. So I don't know. Sometimes I don't feel very good at this. This was a good book. If you enjoyed the movie, or you like, you know, like post-apocalyptic themed books and stuff like that, I really think that you should give I Am Legend a try. It's a solid book. It was just a solid, good book for me. I enjoyed the character. I enjoyed his storyline. You know, you wouldn't think you'd be able to be interested in maybe a single character book for what ends up being most of the book. You know, he's the only character that you're really hearing from, because he's the only guy, a healthy guy left in the world that he knows of. So in that way, it was pretty cool that it could be a good story from just one person's perspective, and just constantly seeing one character and kind of just living in his mind for most of the time. So yeah, I mean, it was a good book. I really liked it. Let's leave it at that. Alright, next I read The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. As the librarian pointed out to me, and I've since looked up the trailer and stuff, this is a movie that I guess came out this past summer, summer of 2017. And now I'm really interested in watching the movie. Although, I will say that after watching the trailer, especially while I was reading the book, I was already thinking, man, this is going to be... I think they've definitely made the characters... They've come at the characters from a different perspective than I would have after reading the book, or after even getting a quarter of the way through the book. So basically, the synopsis of this book is there's a family, and they seem like radical unschoolers to me in some way. You hear from the main character, the daughter Jeanette. This is a memoir, nonfiction, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's basically all from her perspective, and growing up with a mother who didn't really embrace being a mother, or, you know, enjoy taking part in that responsibility as a mother. And then a father who was basically, I mean, he was pretty much a genius, from what I read in the book, and taught the kids so many good life skills, but also wasn't the best father. It was sort of weird because you kind of go back and forth between really admiring the father and then really thinking he's just a piece of crap, you know. So in that way, I mean, I didn't know how to feel sometimes about the story, and sometimes I was like, well, I can look past some of the major faults, you know. It seemed like they were doing okay as parents, and then other times I was like, this is just so screwed up. I mean, leaving the book, I still don't know exactly how to feel. I know that the mom and the dad, they really missed the mark in parenting, but you kind of like, you just keep circling around, like, you know, on one hand, these kids got some great experiences, or maybe it's just me that I thought, you know, despite the screwed upness of some of the things that their parents did, I mean, in the end, the parents constantly defend the way they're bringing up the kids. You know, we're making you tougher, we're making you self-sufficient, and I will say that they hit the mark on it. As screwed up as it was, they hit the mark on it, and Jeanette and her siblings all seem to go on to be pretty successful adults, who, again, just learned so many valuable life skills. Although it could have happened in a way healthier way, let's just put it that way, because her father was a drunk, and he did a lot of screwed up stuff. One of the opening, like, scenes in this story is when Jeanette is 3 and she ends up catching her body on fire because she's cooking hot dogs for herself because her mother is too busy attending to her own desires to take care of her 3-year-old daughter. And her 3-year-old daughter gets skin grafts, has to go to the hospital for weeks and get skin grafts because she has been cooking for herself, you know, since who knows how long. So in that ways, it was like, I don't know, screwed up, and it was fascinating, and I love this memoir. I really like this book, and I want to watch the movie, although I feel like from seeing the trailer, I feel like I'll be pretty critical of it. But if you've seen it, you know, and you've read the book, kind of tell me what you think without giving too many, like, I guess, movie spoilers, even though I've read the book, you know. I still want the movie to be a little bit of a surprise. And the last book that I want to talk about today is Horns by Joe Hill. I just recently finished this, and I will say that I greatly enjoyed this book. It was fantastic. If you aren't familiar at all, Joe Hill is the son of Stephen King, and I will say that Stephen King did a good job passing on his wildly creative, imaginative, screwed up mind. That's not nice. I won't say screwed up mind, but anyone that's read Stephen King knows, like, you're just like, how did this man think of this stuff? Who even comes up with this? And I kind of got the similar feeling from Joe Hill in Horns. So basically what this book is about is a man who wakes up one morning after a pretty rough night, and he has horns growing out of his head. And they seem to give him some sort of magical ability to make people tell them all their most base, like, very just wrong, like, all your wrong thoughts that you keep all trapped up inside and won't even let yourself admit that you think. They just spill it all out to him. And it seems to be because of these horns. So, yeah, that was pretty fascinating. And the story's all kind of based around him, and then, like, a mystery. We'll just leave it at that, a mystery. Again, I never know how much of what I say is a spoiler or not. I'm not good at navigating the spoiler territory. So I'm always just scared I'm going to ruin someone's book experience. So I'm just going to leave it at that. It kind of is, like, all around a mystery, and then these horns that give this, again, magical abilities for people to say all the disgusting things that are on their mind that they would never ever say under any other circumstance. So it was a pretty fascinating book. I will say that Joe Hill does a really great job with characters and really letting you get to know all sides of them. He doesn't make, there's no definable good or bad guys. I mean, everyone's just really human, and that's one of the things that I really loved about the book is the characters were fantastic and the storyline was perfect. The only thing I could complain about is the ending was just a little lackluster for me. It just didn't, I was like, okay. I just expected more. I expected more of like, bam, but I didn't get that feeling at all when I got to the end. So great book all the way up until the end for me, and then I don't know, just missed the mark for me. And I'll just leave it at that. So yeah, pretty much I had a pretty good reading past few weeks. I didn't even keep track of when I started or finished these. I know I could go and look on Goodreads when I started and finished them. So I'm not sure which ones are maybe leftover December reads and which ones are actually from the month of January. But yeah, I enjoyed all of them. And if you guys have read them and have any thoughts on them, of course, comment below. You know, I always like to hear what you guys thought about the books. And if you have any suggestions for me on where to move on, I definitely think I'm going to pick up more Joe Hill. I'm pretty sure my library has more. And I want to see what else, you know, he has written and see if he seems to have done a good job, and I really liked his writing, and I want to try more to see if I'm going to be a new fan. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you all again really soon.